Most welcome guests. Welcome, and thank you for welcoming me back after being away for probably a solid month. It's been a little busy, and I think we all get that every once in a while. Changes come in. I was away for a couple weeks visiting family while I was going in between a couple new jobs. So it has been awesome to be welcomed back so warmly to my Toastmasters community. Have you ever had one of those days that was just a terrible, no good, terrible, awful day? Yeah, okay. Some people, yes. Sometimes we encounter days in our lives where things just don't go as planned. And depending on your attitude that day, sometimes you'll have a great time about it, and sometimes it will almost cripple you with so much frustration that these problems have come up for you. But I noticed this weekend that a little thing called perspective really helped me out when I was having a weekend that was not going particularly as planned. I was going out of town this weekend to a wedding in Ottawa. One of my friends was getting married, so I was with two of my very best friends in the world. And the weekend didn't start out exactly how we were expecting it. First, I was quite late. I stayed at work late. It was my very first week on my job, and my new boss was going back to France, and I wanted to hold as much time with her as possible so I could learn as much as possible. So I was about 2 hours late, which in Toronto terms meant, of course, that we got stuck in some crazy traffic. Oh well, not the end of the world. I was with two of my best friends. We had a good time on the road, listening to music and chilling and talking. Once we got on the road, we stopped for dinner. There was this really long line at the en route in Kingston, Ontario. And I had about the slowest possible experience I ever have with someone making my pita. Didn't know it was possible, 20 minutes. They still got it wrong, but I didn't want to wait 20 minutes in line again just to get hummus, so I just ate my pita, and yet again, had a fantastic time, relaxing, eating my pita with my best friends on the road. As we're heading into Ottawa, did I mention that I went to Ottawa this weekend, for anyone who paid attention to the news? As we're heading into town, about 40 minutes finally outside, we found out that the tornado warning that we saw on the Weather Network app actually happened. Once we found out that the friends and family that we were most concerned about were all safe and sound and everything was okay, we decided, okay, let's just check into our hotel, which luckily enough for us was one of the 40% of the city that still had power, so fantastic. Yet again, awesome night, had some wine, woke up the next morning, we were able to check out a couple neighborhoods in Ottawa that we hadn't been to yet, made sure that they had power before we went, had a really good time, got to the wedding venue, surprise, the wedding venue didn't have power, so we had an outside ceremony, a little chilly, but we all just cuddled and had a good time and laughed and enjoyed ourselves, watched the union of two people who were very much in love, had a last minute change of venue for the reception from what was apparently Plan B, was a mansion of someone, a friend of the family. So instead of being at, just like a normal run-of-the-mill country club, we got to go to this giant hotel, essentially, on the lake, and we had a great time, and we danced all night. No sit-down dinner. Instead, we got make-your-own tacos and got to walk around the house and danced all night, and we didn't get to cut the cake because the cake was still at the other wedding venue. We had so much fun. And then to top it all off, at the very end of the weekend on our way back, we ran into some technical problems with our car and got a tow from CAA from Peterborough all the way to downtown Toronto in the back of the tow truck. But I realized, normally when these kind of situations happen, you just get so frustrated and you talk yourself into not having a good time on whatever date this might be, one particular situation. We ran into a whole bunch of situations that could have had us have a terrible weekend, but instead I had one of the best weekends of my entire life with two of my best friends. We laughed the entire time, ate food, ate bad food, drank a lot, danced all night, and in genuinely great terms, had a fantastic weekend. So, the next time that you're in the middle of your terrible, no good, terrible, rotten, awful day, just think about it for a second. Look around and see, is there anything that can make me giggle right now? Anything that I can just smile at and reflect a little bit? Because that little bit of perspective might just make that terrible day turn into a fantastic one. Thank you.